Awakening the Giant, the U.S. entry into World War I. The prelude to conflict.
The summer of 1914 ignited World War I following the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, triggering a complex web of alliances across Europe.
While countries mobilized for war, the United States maintained a stance of neutrality.
President Woodrow Wilson, elected on a peace platform, reflected the sentiments of many Americans who viewed the conflict as distant. However, the U.S. had significant economic ties to the Allies, particularly Britain and France.
American investments flourished, while relations with Germany deteriorated, especially after the British blockade caused severe shortages in Germany. This growing conflict began to stir debates within American society about the country's role in world affairs. A shift in public opinion. Public opinion began to shift dramatically after the sinking of the RMS Lusitania in May 1915. The German U-boat attack resulted in the deaths of 1,198 people, including 128 Americans, igniting anti-German sentiment. Reports of German atrocities, particularly against civilians in Belgium, further fueled public outrage, with sensationalized newspaper accounts portraying the conflict as a struggle between good and evil. Despite these pressures, Wilson upheld a neutral stance, believing in the U.S.'s potential as a mediator. However, as the war continued, the economic benefits of supporting the Allies became more apparent to American businesses. Unrestricted submarine warfare. In early 1917, Germany's resumption of unrestricted submarine warfare marked a critical turning point.
The German High Command sought to cut off supplies to the Allies, targeting all ships indiscriminately, including neutral ones. This aggressive strategy led to numerous sinkings and increased American casualties. The interception of the Zimmermann telegram in January 1917, in which Germany proposed an alliance with Mexico against the U.S., galvanized public opinion and heightened fears of a direct threat to national security.
The declaration of war. On April 2, 1917, President Wilson addressed Congress, urging for war to make the world safe for democracy.
His vision resonated with an increasingly supportive American public. Congress declared war on Germany on April 6, marking a significant shift from isolationism to active global involvement.
Mobilization and the American Expeditionary Forces. The declaration prompted a massive mobilization effort.
The Selective Service Act of May 1917 instituted a draft, expanding the U.S. Army from a small force to a substantial military presence. The American Expeditionary Forces, AF, led by General John J. Pershing, arrived in France by mid-1917, boosting Allied morale despite initially modest contributions.
Key battles and contributions.
As American forces engaged, they participated in several pivotal battles. One of the first was the Battle of Cantigny in May 1918, where U.S. troops captured a strategic village from German forces. The most significant contribution came during the Meuse-Argonne offensive in fall 1918, involving over 1 million American soldiers in one of the largest campaigns in U.S. military history. Despite heavy casualties, this effort weakened German forces and contributed to the eventual armistice.
The aftermath and legacy.
World War I concluded on November 11, 1918, leading to the Treaty of Versailles, which sought to prevent future conflicts but imposed punitive measures on Germany, criticized for fostering resentment. The war catalyzed significant social changes in the U.S., including advances in women's suffrage and debates about civil liberties as the government imposed restrictions on free speech. The U.S. entry into World War I represented a decisive shift from isolationism to international engagement, shaping future American foreign policy.
The conflict's lessons influenced America's role in global affairs throughout the 20th century. Conclusion.
In retrospect, the U.S. entry into World War I was driven by a mix of political, economic, and social factors. The Lusitania tragedy, German aggression, and the call for democracy converged, compelling the nation into a war that altered history. The sacrifices made would resonate through generations, establishing the U.S. as a global power committed to promoting democracy and addressing international conflicts.